Okay, we're going to start off with the non-romance books, which are sci-fi and urban fantasy, and then we're going to move into the romance books, which are paranormal romance and sci-fi romance. Let's start off with A Soldier's Duty, a science fiction book by Jean Johnson. First of all, contrary to what the cover is trying to convince you of, this book is not romance. Unless you count the entire chapter-long ode to the specs of military guns of the far future as a love poem. There is not an iota of romance in this book, but because it's written by a woman with a female main character, the publisher felt led to put this cover on the book, leading some people on Goodreads to classify this as a romance. No, this is full-on hardcore science fiction. It is in fact military science fiction, and is way more fascinating than a book that can often get caught up in the minutiae of how the military of the future operates should be. For example, when you get to the chapter all about gun specs, I highly recommend you just skip over until the actual story starts again. But, the story, it's about a precog, someone who can see all probable futures, and as a teen, she sees that in almost all of them, the universe will be destroyed, unless she manages to navigate her future down the few possible paths where she can prevent it. All these paths lead through the military. It is so good! You can't put it down because you want to know what she does next and how that will affect the possible futures, compressing her options or expanding her options, and you see her surprised when a possible future event with a low possibility of occurrence catches her off guard and makes her reevaluate and scramble to course correct towards that one last hope for the universe. I'm not crazy. Gail Carriger, author of the Parasol Protectorate series, loves this book too. Anyway, Chill Factor, the third book in the Weather Warden Urban Fantasy series by Rachel Kane. This is a good example of a series which, while there is romance in it, I would not classify as romance, as the main plot doesn't center around that romance. It just kind of exists on the side. The premise of this series is awesome. You have wardens of the elements, weather, earth, fire, etc., who are in charge of keeping really bad things in control, like hurricanes and forest fires. And if they're really lucky, they have a djinn or genie to help them with that. This series is just really cool. This is not my favorite book of the series though. While I didn't dislike where Rachel Kane took the plot arc in this book, I felt that the execution to get there wasn't highly engaging, and the main character came off as really annoying, which she really hadn't in previous books. Hopefully the next book rights the train, so to speak. Anyway, I still recommend the series. The premise is just gold. Moving on to our romance books, I read Demon Angel by Mel Jean Brooke, the first book in paranormal romance series The Guardians. I read this because I really like Mel Jean Brooke's steampunk series, so I thought I'd try one of her books in a different genre. I really liked this book. I wasn't sure for the first part, which was set in medieval England, but once they got to more recent times, I was hooked. In this book, you have demons and guardians, and you have Lilith. Yes, that Lilith, which is a really interesting choice for a main character, and I really like that Mel Jean Brooke turned the gender roles on their head, where typically he'd be the bad boy and she'd be all purity and goodness, and Mel Jean Brooke reverses that and she does it really well. Good stuff. The Darkest Passion by Gina Showalter. This is the fifth book I've read in her paranormal romance series, Lords of the Underworld. This series is so popular. I just keep reading, hoping to figure out why, but I just can't connect with this series. In this specific one, I found the female lead downright annoying, and for the series as a whole, there's a continual sense that chronic civilian slaughter can be forgiven on the part of the heroes by oopsie, as long as they feel really bad about it every time they do it. It's just strange to me, I don't know. Hope's Folly, the third book in the sci-fi romance series Doc 5 Universe by Linnea Sinclair. I adore this series. Every single book. Now the second starts off kind of slow, but you just have to bear with it, and then it gets really good. This third book is much faster paced, and we get the story of Chaz's ex-husband Philip and Rhea, not sure how to say it, but she's one of my favorite characters now. You know, sometimes characters can become in your head almost archetypes. of their personality characteristics. But throughout this book, Ria is very distinct and real feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but I won't ever get her confused with another literary character, and if she sat down right beside me and started chatting with me, that would feel totally natural. I already feel like I know her as an individual. I am very impressed with this one. I also immediately read the fourth book in the series, Rebels and Lovers, which follows Philip's brother Devin and former family employee Katie. I also really liked this one. Katie tugged at my heart. Good stuff. Read this series if you like romance. It's very good. To end, here's the thing. I'm running low on sci-fi romance books if anyone wants to holler out some suggestions.